The air in the university library hung heavy with the scent of aged paper and forgotten knowledge. The dim lighting cast long shadows, creating an atmosphere that felt almost timeless, as if the past and present were intertwined within these walls. Eleanor, a history postgraduate, navigated the towering bookshelves, her eyes scanning the titles with a mix of determination and curiosity. Each step she took echoed softly, a reminder of the countless students who had walked these aisles before her. Her fingers traced the spines of countless volumes, feeling the texture of the worn leather and cloth bindings. Each book held a story, a fragment of history waiting to be rediscovered. She was searching for core texts on 20th century local history, hoping to unearth a hidden gem for her dissertation. The topic was niche, but Eleanor believed that within these forgotten pages lay the key to a groundbreaking discovery. Her excitement was palpable, a spark in her eyes as she imagined the possibilities. The thrill of the hunt, the anticipation of finding something no one else had seen in decades, drove her forward. Deep in the stacks, tucked away on a bottom shelf, she found it. The book was unassuming, its cover thick with dust, but it seemed to whisper promises of forgotten stories. It was a first edition account of local architecture, published over 50 years prior, a relic from a bygone era. The pages were yellowed with age, and the binding was fragile, but the content within was invaluable. Eager to delve in, Eleanor carried the book to a nearby table, her pulse quickening with anticipation. She could hardly wait to uncover the secrets it held. Her pulse quickening with anticipation, she gently placed the book on the table, careful not to damage its delicate pages. The sense of discovery was almost overwhelming. As she cracked open the brittle spine, a small folded piece of paper slipped from between the pages and fluttered to the floor. It was an unexpected find, adding an element of mystery to her research. Intrigued, Eleanor picked it up. The paper was old, its edges frayed, and the ink had faded over time. What could it possibly contain? Unfolding the paper, she discovered faded ink and hurried handwriting. The note was penned decades ago, and it spoke of a chilling encounter, a late-night meeting, and a desperate plea for help. The words were hurried, as if written in a moment of panic. The note was unsigned, its author lost to time. Eleanor, however, was captivated. This was no ordinary library find. This was a message from the past, a potential cry for help echoing through the years. She felt a shiver run down her spine. What had happened to the person who wrote this note? And could she, after all this time, help them? Eleanor, her curiosity piqued, examined the book for further clues. On the inside cover, she found a library card tucked into a worn pocket. It listed the names and borrowing dates of past readers stretching back decades. Each name represented a life lived, a story told. And somewhere within those stories, Eleanor believed, lay the answer to the mystery hidden within the book's pages. She resolved to track down these past borrowers, hoping to uncover the truth behind the handwritten note. Little did she know, her quest for answers would unravel a decades-old conspiracy and expose a killer hiding in plain sight. The library, once a sanctuary of knowledge, was now a silent witness to a long-forgotten crime. And Eleanor, an unassuming history student, found herself thrust into the centre of a mystery spanning half a century. The weight of the discovery settled on her shoulders, but she was determined to see it through. With a deep breath, she prepared herself for the journey ahead, knowing that the past was about to collide with the present in ways she could never have imagined. The library card became Eleanor's guide, a thread connecting her to the past. It was more than just a piece of paper, it was a portal to a different era, a time capsule of sorts. She started by contacting the library archivist, a kind but eccentric woman named Ms. Periwinkle, who would dedicate her life to preserving the library's history. Ms. Periwinkle was a living encyclopedia of the library's past, her mind a vault of stories and secrets. Ms. Periwinkle, intrigued by Eleanor's discovery, helped her track down contact information for the previous borrowers. She was meticulous, combing through old ledgers and dusty address books. Some records were outdated, some individuals had moved on, but slowly, Eleanor began to piece together a network of individuals connected by this single book. Each name was a new thread in the tapestry she was weaving. Her first breakthrough came with a retired professor, Dr. Henry Cavendish, who had borrowed the book in the late 1980s. Dr. Cavendish was a man of letters, his life steeped in academia. Dr. Cavendish, now living a quiet life in a retirement home, vaguely remembered the book. His memory was a bit foggy, but certain details stood out. He recalled finding a similar note tucked within its pages, a desperate plea that had sent chills down his spine. The note was haunting, its words echoing in his mind long after he had read them. He had dismissed it as a prank at the time, but now, speaking with Eleanor, he realized the potential weight of his discovery. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing the gravity of the situation. He had kept the note, he explained, and promised to send it to Eleanor. This note, he believed, was a crucial piece of the puzzle. The arrival of Dr. Cavendish's note, penned in a different hand but echoing the same desperate plea, confirmed Eleanor's suspicions. The handwriting was different, but the message was eerily similar. This was no isolated incident. It was a pattern, a series of cries for help that spanned decades. Someone was using this book, using the quiet anonymity of the library, to leave a trail of breadcrumbs, a desperate cry for help lost in the vastness of time. The library, a place of knowledge and refuge, had become a silent witness to these pleas. As Eleanor contacted more individuals from the library card, a pattern began to emerge. Each conversation, each new piece of information, added another layer to the mystery. Each borrower had found a similar note, each written in a different hand, each carrying the same chilling message. The consistency of the message, despite the different handwritings, was unsettling. A story began to unfold, fragmented and incomplete, but undeniably present. It was like piecing together a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. It was a story of fear, of a life in danger, and a desperate attempt to leave a message in a bottle, hoping it would reach someone who could help, hoping against hope that someone, someday, would find it. The desperation in the notes was palpable, a cry for help that transcended time. Eleanor, piecing together these whispers from the past, felt a growing sense of urgency. The more she uncovered, the more she felt the weight of the responsibility on her shoulders. She had stumbled onto something significant, something dark and dangerous. The notes were not just cries for help, they were warnings. But who was leaving these messages? The identity of the person, or people, behind the notes remained a mystery. And what had happened to them? The questions lingered unanswered as Eleanor delved deeper into the mystery. Eleanor meticulously compared the notes, searching for any connection, any clue to the identity of the author. Each note was different, written on scraps of paper, napkins, even receipts, yet they shared a chilling similarity. The handwriting, though varied in style, had an unmistakable eeriness to it. They all mentioned a park, a specific bench under a weeping willow, and a meeting at dusk. The details were too precise to be a coincidence. It was a location, Eleanor realized, that had been mentioned in the local news some 50 years ago. The story had faded from public memory, but the pain lingered.